Welcome everyone, how's it going? Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Grimazzo, Gisborne, Racers, welcome, and everyone else lurking as well. Welcome to our next episode of Realm Watch from the Return of Reckoning team. And in tonight's episode, we have something special going on as we're going to attempt to spectate and commentate a community event that has been in the works for the past weeks now, I believe. And it is a 24 versus 24 guild versus guild or warband versus warband competitive event that some of the biggest guilds and more well-known warband leaders have been organizing, and you will probably recognize them once we get there. But tonight's Realm Watch host is myself, Hasmi from RvR Community Management. Hello there, everyone. And since this is somewhat of a more competitive event and occasion, and we're not only going to be looking at the battles in RvR and the lakes, I will need some assistance in commentating and sharing what's happening in the battles. And for that, we do have a special guest for tonight, who is going to be Uchoo from the guild Top. He's a very old school player. He's a very old player. He knows a lot about the game and he knows what he's talking about. And he's going to be our specialty commentator for tonight's event. Hello there, Uchoo. How are you doing?
Hello, Hasmi. I'm doing pretty good. I wouldn't describe myself as that old, but I'm definitely getting up there.
There you
go.
So
I'm Uchoo. Some of you guys might know me from my YouTube. I'm a content creator for RvR. I make some stuff to try to help people. A few memes and then some high-level gameplay. You'll see me on youtube.com/UchooGaming. We actually have the Discord is starting to populate, and I do have the final rosters locked in for tonight's event.
Oh, that's fantastic. Sorry, I was just drinking really quickly. We were worried that there was, I think, a rehearsal and the first battle last week, and there has been some players who were very late to the event, so we were worried it might happen again. But it's good to hear that people are coming around, so we might not have to wait too much for this to start rolling. So let us see, shall we? And also, if you haven't checked it out yet, Uchoo actually has a RvR guide. If you could talk about it a little bit, especially for newer players or people who just return to the game and that information might be useful to them.
Yeah, basically I was motivated to write the RvR guide by Trauma. When he said he was bringing his players to the game, I said, hey, I'll write a guide for you guys. Hopefully it's helpful. I guess my problem with my guide is that I don't have good insight on it from like a new player perspective. So if anyone has any insight on it, feel free to contact me on Twitter or something, or via Discord DM, and let me know if there's anything else in there that you guys would like to see that'd be helpful.
Yeah, there you go. I think you're just started writing the range DPS guides and maybe going into destruction, I think, or you're not at destruction yet.
So it's almost half done. I decided to do order first because a lot of the new players are playing order, and then I'm going race by race. And I'm on dwarf, and I'm almost done with NG. NG is 2 out of 3 done. And then it's Slayer, and then we are on to Destruction, which has been hotly requested for a long time now. So I wish I could have gotten it to you guys sooner.
Yeah, there is a lot of changes. There are a lot of changes going on in the game, so that might give you some extra work on writing these guides, but...
I will say my guide is up to date with all the changes. Everything in the guide is relevant and valid. So
perfect.
There is that.
So, feel free to link it in the Twitch chat as well if you have it quickly. And meantime, I am flying around trying to see how many people are ready, but people are appearing, which is good. But we definitely don't have full warbands ready here. So worst case, if the event is a little bit delayed, then we might go to the lakes and just do a couple of minutes in normal Realm Watch. Though I think there aren't big warbands currently active. We checked it like 10 minutes ago, so it could have changed since. but it looked relatively chill. Maybe someone can give us an update in the chat. Oh, you tried to link. Okay, so can you give? It seems we do have an anti-link moderation in the chat. So if you can send it to me on Discord, Uchoo, I'm gonna share the link with everyone. There's a KV order siege. There you go. Then I'm quickly going to share Uchoo's a guide with everyone because it is a really useful one.
So State of the Realm is looking a little bit interesting.
There you go. I did share it. All right.
So KV, our AAO has actually swapped in the opposite directions. That leads me to believe that Order may have defended the keep, or they may attempt to. If not, they are stacking and getting ready for a fort defense.
Oh, really? That's interesting because 10 minutes ago when we checked it, it was the exact opposite, exactly. And I think some of the Pug warbands have been in a completely different zone as well. And just fighting at the graveyard.
Well, Hasmi, you know as well as I that minutes can change a lot of things in the RvR.
Oh, yes. We were just
Reckoning.
having a rehearsal for this little round watch, and we were watching the lakes pretty late after EU time. And it was really fun. I think it was really fun. It was quite different than usual, and the battles were changing minute to minute almost. Let us see if all right, we might be able to spectate a little bit. And meanwhile, Uchoo is going to keep us updated with the event organizers about when things are going to start. Until then, we can commentate what is happening.
Well, I'm seeing people
KV.
are. I see my friends in chat all signing up to be invited to the warband, so they are grouping as we speak, and we should see them out here in the lake within a few minutes.
Perfect. All right. All right, and we have arrived. And KV, you just have to start flying, and I am ready. Oh yes, there are actually quite a few people here. I'm surprised. Let's see a little bit closer what we have here. So it seems Unreal has a warband. Yeah, definitely.
Now this is
like a big.
This is an Order siege. Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, but a few minutes ago was it not a Destro siege? Or am I wrong?
It was,
there?
I think, when we checked, but maybe we missed. So that is.
Well, if that's the case, it has reversed tremendously in the previous 10 minutes.
So that is an Unreal warband that is sieging here, and who are the defenders? There are some people from Bene Gesserit. Looks like a decent numbers. And there's very decent defense. Very decent defense inside as well.
I think we see Zorbax here, maybe, with his warband. Maybe, I'm not quite sure who that is. I do see some freebooters down here.
If Zorbax is here, then we should see...
I saw a red melee squig, so I assumed it was Zorbax, but I could be incorrect.
Zorbax might be in a different zone, I wonder.
Alright, well, regardless, we have some defenders. I'm not sure if it's looking too great for Destro. I think we have the one coordinated warband somewhat, which is Bene, and I'm not sure if there's anything else highly coordinated here. But they are setting up for a funnel defense on main, so we'll likely see a slight battle there, and then we'll likely see one of these coordinated Order warbands going through the postern and flank and push them back into the inner. But anything can happen. Yep, here, doors down.
The funneling is already started.
A bit of Magus damage, but they're pushing right in. Big Destro melee pile doing a lot of damage here on that Order front line. There we see a Knight M3 with Root.
With a black
okay, yeah,
squig.
so I thought that is Zorback. Yeah. So they are absolutely tremendously destroying this order front line as they push in. We want to watch for these posturing flanks though here on the left side, but we also have a nice Destro melee wall here that's defeating this flank. What's this? This is a small group of order here. It's very unlikely they are able to fully push through. They might attempt to go on the wall, but this should be well controlled. We have Bene on this side.
Yeah, it seems Bene is countering the small postern push. It was just a 12-man, maybe an 8-man. It seems there is a main door funneling going on. And
it does seem like Destro has this well in hand
already.
at the moment.
Oh yes, there's even a counter push.
So this could go good or bad, depending on how Order reacts. They could counter push into this, but it does look like they are fleeing, and then this will likely lead to destruction, destroying the ram, which is what will officially end this siege.
Yeah, just as you were saying that they might counter push, it did not look that great for them. But regardless, it seems the lakes are quite volatile tonight, so anything can happen. But either way, tonight we will be focusing on a special community event, as I said, a 24 versus 24 Warband event. So while we can show what is happening over here, it's probably better if we start talking about just the preparations and what's good to know about the event. So this is a community event that some of the bigger guilds and the warband leaders have been organizing. It's somewhat of a... I'm not actually sure if it is a proper league or it didn't really start yet. But basically, larger warbands are fighting against one another in an organized way and in a controlled environment. And we're going to be trying to showcase and commentate all of it for you. But this is going to be quite different than what you can see in the open RvR lakes, and maybe Uchoo can quickly describe what's the main difference between having large-scale warband versus warband fights in the lakes and what we're going to be experiencing tonight.
So the format of this league is, I think, focusing specifically on 24 versus 24. One warband versus another warband. So it's very similar to what you'd see in City Siege, and there is a meta involved here. You'll often see 2 to 3 groups that are focused on AoE damage, and 2 to 3 groups, or 1 to 2 groups that are focused on single target damage. Compared to the lakes, in the lakes, fights happen very quickly. There's a lot of AoE damage, and people die very quickly. It's hard to tell exactly how many people are in a fight or if there's other people who are going to join a fight. It doesn't happen like that in a 24v24. The numbers are always controlled. So if you've ever been in a very sweaty, very back and forth city fight, that's going to be similar to what you're going to experience here. And these players are all very experienced and they know the meta, they know what works here. So I'm excited to see what they bring to the table today.
Awesome. So if people have been participating in City Sieges, then they might be familiar with what's going to happen tonight. Is it correct?
Maybe, maybe not. The solo queue city experience is, I'll say, usually far different from an organized city experience. So those of you who are solo queue enjoyers, this might be a refreshing take for you. So I hope you enjoy it.
Awesome. Yeah, because you're going to be commentating here as well and helping a lot. And since some of these warbands are some of the best warbands and leaders in the game as well, there are possibly going to be a few strategies, maybe some gameplay mechanics or tactics that we will be able to show to you all and even explain how it works or what's important to know about it, and perhaps teach you something new even. There's a little bit of a skirmish over here.
All right, let's see your skirmish.
Well, it's already over. I'm afraid you were late on this one. Even I was late, unfortunately. But we're just flying around until the event really starts.
I took a moment to develop a thought, and I missed the whole fight. So, to give just a little strategy breakdown of 24v24. So the AoE groups, their focus generally is to create as much AoE damage on a spot to make it as dangerous for the enemy as possible. That basically what the goal is, it's to create a zone of safety for that side. No one can really afford to step close to it. So what that means is, let's say if there are healers on that side who are under pressure, they can simply run inside that AoE blob and they're going to be safe, because if anyone tries to chase them in there, it's almost certainly death for them. Looking at the comps today, because I haven't been notified to finalize comps, it does look like Destro will have a pretty powerful AoE comp. And generally what happens is both sides will have this AoE comp, and one of them will end up being a little bit stronger than the other, and that's the one that's going to have the safety, and the other side is going to have to be mobile and defensive, and they likely won't end up with that safety. So I'm not quite sure who's going to have the better AoE team today, but we'll see.
Interesting.
But I do think I know which side will have the better single target teams.
Oh.
That can be very impactful in a different way.
Then can you share that maybe, or you would rather wait for the results first to not spoil anything for the viewers here?
Well, Hasmi, if I was to guess, I would say that I think Order is going to have the better single target teams, but I'm not quite sure what they're going to field, because it's going to be a 6-man of Team Spirit, which is at Varka's guild, and they are one of the best, the premier 6-man guild on the server at the moment, and then Tup, which is my boys, and I'm not sure what they're going to field.
Interesting.
But yeah, it's likely that if they play well and they coordinate, they are going to be able to lock down those single target kills very quickly. Now, generally, the goal in a 24v24 with single target teams is to focus down enemy healers and get kills on them. And you do that having at least one Witch Hunter inside those 12 people, those two groups, because they have the stake ability. So if you get a kill on someone, you can then stop them from being rezzed for 30 seconds. So then you don't necessarily have to kill the healers, but if you create enough pressure on them to where they can't actively heal, that can create enough of a gap in the enemy's defense that your AoE teams are able to get kills with that opportunity. So we'll see what happens there.
And hopefully we will be able to follow what's happening, because we haven't really done anything on this level, but we have developed a new technique that we can follow the fights a little bit smoother and closer for a better viewing experience. And then if everything works out for Uchoo as well, then we should be able to showcase and explain everything that is happening. But as I'm flying around now, it seems people are gathering, so very much we can start marking people, because it's also something we want to do to increase the viewing experience. And you might be able to help me here, Uchoo. If you can come over to the Destruction War Camp and then let me know who to mark up for better experience here.
Sure, let me see who's here. I see Juppy out here on the lake. He's playing tank today for Dissolution. Juppy is the guild leader of Dissolution, a very nice guy, very talented player, and he puts a lot of work into theory crafting the game. So your first mark is going to be not Cluclu, the Chappa. He's likely going to be the MA for Dissolution.
Perfect.
And then,
oops.
I see Scourge, and I think he might be Mercenary for Dissolution. So if he is, he won't need a mark, because I don't think Brogan is involved today.
Alright, we have at least one mark for Dissolution. Perhaps we can go over to Order War Camp as well. And yeah, feel free to check the rosters, of course.
So the rosters, it's going to be 2 12-mans on Destro, the 12-man of Dissolution and 12-man of NGE. So I don't see any NGE yet, but once they show up, I can tell you who to mark there. Yeah, let's go check out Order.
I won't be able to protect you, so maybe
yeah,
it is better to
here.
watch my point of view, exactly.
Brope's on FMJ, so he might be watching. So we see Nutbiter. He's our obvious candidate for a mark. He's going to be the likely MA for the Retribution 12-man.
And maybe we're going to see... is FMJ participating?
I think FMJ might be participating as mercs in this guild. So Brope is maybe filling a DPS slot for Retribution, and then I think Scourge, who's wrestling, some of you may remember or know wrestling, I think he's filling a spot for the Destro side.
Yeah, so it is important to say here that this is not exactly strictly guild versus guild, but if certain groups cannot fill their 12-man or whatever group they are filling up, then of course mercenaries are allowed to join them, and in this case fill up their teams.
We're all friends here by necessity. We need each other sometimes.
Of course, it's not out of necessity. It's everyone is friends with everyone, of course. Am I right? Of course.
Well, of course we are, but you know, it's a PvP game and there's some rivalries.
There are rivalries. It is part of PvP games, of course. Now
on the order side, I'd look out for if you see any guild tags from Team Spirit or TUP. We'll need some marks for them, and then we can maybe see what kind of comps they're bringing to the table. Because I don't even know for certain if they're playing 2 single target or if they're going to do 3 AOE, which differs slightly in how that's played. Who's that Bright Wizard jumper? That could be Matt jumping around in Bright Wizard. That looks like Matt behavior.
Yes. Hot
I'd put a
Laura
mark
is
there.
On their
Hot
Bright
Laura.
Wizard.
Hot Laura's Matt. I'd give him a big mark. He's likely going to be the team lead for the TUP 6-man.
There we go. I will have to refresh our marks once we get closer because, of course, the add-on doesn't work that well. So someone asked in chat, what is the event that's happening in Chaos Wastes? This is a community event between some of the bigger guilds and more known warband leaders in the game. They're going to be fighting against one another in an organized and controlled environment. This is going to be a 24 versus 24 battle. We're going to be spectating and thanks to Uchoo also commentating and hopefully give you a good experience about what's going down tonight. And if it is an event that you all enjoy, then we can also do this more often in the future, but also based on feedback, improve certain things. Unfortunately, we try to add some more information and detailed infographics on the screen, but we are limited after all what is built into the game. And well, this was still in the time when all the spectating and competitive streams wasn't really a thing. So yes, unfortunately we have technical limitations, but we're gonna do our best.
Someday in the near future, we'll have a great observer interface for 24v24. It'll be just like WoW Arena.
Oh yes,
but that could be 2030. Who knows?
Yeah, one day. Not in this time, not in 2 weeks, I'm afraid to say. That does not apply this time around. But also for those who cannot be here for the whole night, we will also upload this to our official Return of Reckoning YouTube channel, so you will be able to watch it there later, or check the details or pause at your leisure.
Just a quick glance has me back at State of the Realm. It looks like numbers have evened out a little bit in KV. There is a 20% advantage in population to Destro, and there is a Destro Ram. So I think they want another crack at this 3-star keep, and they want to get that fort today.
Interesting.
So that is a 3-star keep, and we both know what that means. That means there's no use of that inner postern if they get inside. That's very
are you trying to
read.
say that we just ditch these people here in Chaos Waste and go over to the sieges then?
Well, if we do that, Hasmi, I might get G-kicked, but whatever's good for the broadcast.
Well, whatever is good. How do people sign up for this? The event organizer is from Dissolution. Am I right about that? Uchoo might be able to help here.
So the main event organizer, I believe now is Juppy, and he is the leader of Dissolution, and he's a very, very nice guy, so don't be scared to talk to him. These are typically organized through the guilds, but they plan to expand this roster. So if you have your own guild and you're interested in participating, or if you're a solo and you'd like to maybe even join one of these guilds or participate in the event, there is a Discord for it. It is open to the public, so that's maybe something that Hasmi could link in chat if he wants to, or you guys can talk to Juppy.
It's best, I think, to reach out to Juppy, but I don't know about it yet, like how to access the Discord. We've only been asked to, if we have the time, we can broadcast this event, but unfortunately, I actually don't know about the details of this event. We are here to have fun and included in Realm Watch, since we've been trying to revive this project as well. And this is a great opportunity.
I will send you
to do
this.
it.
I'll send you this info, Hasmi, just so you have it.
Yes, yeah, I think there was just an announcement on the Discord that they're still trying to organize how to do this. So these are still test events, so to say, and rehearsals if it works well and if it can be a more regular thing. But
So the
but of course,
interesting thing about this is coordinating 48 people, which, as some of you can imagine, can be a little bit of a logistical nightmare. So we're waiting for our 2 last logins, and we're only running a little bit late today, which I think is good. So unlike, you know, a city siege, which everyone just queues for and the game just throws you into, we have to individually organize 48 people and get them together by ourselves. So
yes, and it is also a community event, so a lot of work goes into it from the community, as always, and we're very we're grateful for these events, of course, because it also helps us give some content from Realm Watch and have some fun together. But with that said, it seems people are now gathering. Destruction seems more ready than Order. One thing I wanted to ask you, Uchoo, with the current state of the balance, what are some important nodes that you would point out, especially with the compositions, and what are some of the strengths for both sides that are very important or obvious to point out, and what are some of the weaknesses to consider when it comes to bringing certain careers or even parties?
well, it's the first thing I'll say is you're likely going to see a lot of Choppa, and you're probably going to see a lot of Slayer. And now, as a lot of you know, there is currently a bug with both lots of Choppin and Flurry, and that's a problem we ran into last time. I was actually on the Order team last time we ran this, and our Slayers were dealing with that bug, so we were having difficulty competing in the AoE versus AoE fight. And it's interesting in 24v24 because even just a slight difference in the amount of pressure can make a fight look really one-sided, because if the healers in one group aren't occupied healing their group, then they have a lot of time where they can help the other groups. So things can start to snowball very quickly in one direction if there's even slight flaws in the strategy of one side. But today we'll expect to see Destro is definitely running the strike through comp. They're going to be running the Furious Howl plus Pierce defense stack, and with a lot of choppas and a lot of AoE damage. So they are going to have a vicious AoE blob. Order, I'm not quite sure what they're going to have yet. It looks like Nut obviously is on White Lion, which I think is a good choice. White Lions performed well last time. So I'm expecting maybe 2 White Lions and maybe some Slayers. We'll see.
I do see a lot of dwarves coming, that's for sure.
Oh, here we go.
We'll see. I do see, of course, Room Priests, but I've only seen their mounts. But I do see a couple of Slayers. We have Slayers from Retribution, for sure. And I think from a Dvarka's group, I also saw a Slayer. But I could only spot one at the moment. There's one from Top, a guild member of yours.
This is very interesting. So I'm wondering they might actually be running 4 AoE teams, and maybe with 1 or 2 teams that can shift to single target when it looks optimal. But 4 AoE teams is interesting. This could be an absolute AoE fiesta here.
So we have 2 markers on the Order team on the right side. Is there anything that you think would be helpful if we marked on the Destruction team?
We should have our mark on Cluclu.
Yes.
He's going to be our major guy. And then, let me see if I can spot the NGE lead. It should be Yahweh.
Yes, on the Marauder.
Yeah, if you see Yahweh on Marauder, give him a mark. And then potentially on Suitor the Choppa, that's frozen, he might be leading an ST team. I'm not quite sure. We'll see.
I think we can start with 2 markers and see how it goes. If it's annoying to have the markers or not, but that's a good start overall. Now, one thing I wanted to ask you, because this has been definitely a controversial topic lately. What is your thought about Slayers then in the current meta, especially after the nerf to one of the most notorious mechanics they have? How is it going to affect this particular fight, or how has it affected the game in your opinion?
The Rampage nerf, I think, in my opinion, was completely necessary, and I, voted for that for a long time. That 100% strike through is just too much because it makes it so tanks cannot block or parry their guard damage. So 20%, I think to me maybe that number might be a little bit too low. I think that can maybe be tuned a little bit, but the fact is they changed it so it no longer drops your rage and it's off GCD. So to a lot of people, that's actually a buff. They enjoy the new Rampage more than they did the old Rampage because there's no ramp time with it anymore. You don't have to go to green and ramp all the way back up to have your Rampage. You can just pop it whenever, and you can stack it with your numbing strike. If you numb a tank and pop Rampage, that's 70% strike through you have. So that guy is not going to be blocking or parrying his guard damage, so it's almost the same effect. So there's a little bit more skill and gameplay involved with it now, but I still think it's just as good. Slayers, the ID bug is fixed, so there's going to be a lot of ID stacking. And again, the biggest problem we're facing right now is the bug with flurry and lots of chopping. So if these Slayers are smart, like they should be running the reduce cooldown tactic so they can get out more IDs and more retributions, or they have to play full red and rely on wild swing. But flurry is just not an option right now until that bug is fixed.
I see. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for the detailed explanation here. As you can see in the chat, it definitely is still a controversial take, but there are still a lot of bug fixes coming, especially with the current bugs surrounding the AoE abilities. There are more bugs also coming from for ID, of course. So everything will have to be looked at again once those patches are out. And
I have an update for you, Hazmi. I see Krisa on Witch Hunter, if you want to get a mark on him. So I think this will be a somewhat single target group from Team Spirits.
Let's see if I can spot them.
Likely with Slayer. And that will be a very fun group to watch.
Here?
He's standing just behind, he's standing right next to Laura on his big Griffin mount, the Witch Hunter. And they'll likely be seeking out those single target kills, likely those healer kills. And they run... my guess is they're running their morale drop comp just like they do in 6v6, so we might see some big morale drops come from that comp, maybe killing 2 or 3 healers at one time.
Interesting.
So keep an eye on these
That's
guys.
going to be very fun to see. Now, if we are marking 3 people on order side, I think it is only fair that we mark another person on destruction just so we are not order biased. So would you recommend someone on destruction side?
Again, I'm not 100% certain on what their strategy is here, but my guess is that Suitor, the Choppa, may end up leading a team and doing some funky things, lead a few subplots, if you will. So he'd be my guess.
All right, we can do that. Perfect. And then we'll see, of course, how it goes from here. Now, from what I see here, the groups are getting ready. I don't know if there's been any announcement on the Discords, but it's looking
This fight could
really
start
good.
at any moment, Hazmi. Everyone
Perfect.
is ready.
And once the fight starts, it is all up to you. I will just focus on the camera works, and everyone can listen to Uchoo here, who will do his best to commentate what is happening here. Now, before it starts, and it might have just started, so
we are starting here. Let's see. So order starting out very aggressive here. Dissolution always a little bit more cautious. They're letting the order team play into them, but they are setting up. Here's the first Furious Stomp from Cluclu. They're definitely be setting up big burst here. I cannot see HP bars. Let's see if the order clump's taking any big damage. Cluclu cutting around. Now, where is Krisa? We have to watch these healers on the side. Yes, we do have Suitor. Suitor looks like he is leading subplots on the side as well as an ST team. Suitor is getting absolutely destroyed right now. The ST teams are actually focusing on each other. A slight 6v6 being created here. And then let's see, Yahweh. Yahweh pulling back. Destro's side a little bit uncoordinated. It looks like Yahweh is actually leading his team back on healers as well. There's a lot of split focus on healers. And like I said, this can be very impactful because those healers are not able to sit turret cast and create healing. So even if you are not killing them, you're creating a lot of potential value. As we can see, now we have some Destro members. Scourge under big focus here. Big cross heals on him though. Oh, he's getting absolutely coordinated on, but an entire 12 man. What are they killing over here? It looks like they're focusing down the Krisa team. Krisa escaping. I'm guessing this is Nizu. Yep, we have great positioning from Nizu. They're cutting back in. Now Dissolution, they're going to play very tightly as a 12-man. So you'll see a lot of them. They will pinpoint focus and come in and try to absolutely delete one of these groups to create advantage. But it's very back and forth right now. It looks like the AoE teams are pretty even. Matt's bombing. I see. Okay, we have a Bellow on Matt. What did they get a kill on? They got a kill on Kluklu. That's a big kill. But there's not going to be any stakes there. Kreese is on the other side. We get the res on Kluklu. So it's pretty back and forth here in the AoE battle right now. And on the very, very far side, Kreese, we see their team. They're actually both ST teams, it looks like, are focusing together. They're trying to kill the Zealot over here. And if they manage to get any healer kills, this can snowball out of control very quickly. You see Full of the Zealot. Just his HP is just ping-ponging Hasmi. I'm not sure what's going to happen here. Again, it's pretty even on the AoE front. I'm waiting for a big morale drop. Now, these Choppas, they want to get to their morale 4 and do just a massive, massive damage drop. So they're trying to stay alive so they don't lose morale, and they're trying to not get focused too much so they don't have to use defensive morale. And they can keep their big M4 damage. So we see a big order drop here as well. Fuller's kind of trying to get inside his blob for safety, which has kind of worked out. Now we see the AoE order blob on the right side. I'm not quite sure who they're focusing on here. They're creating AoE pressure, a lot of pressure on Disco.
Down a Marauder from FMJ. It seems more kills are coming in from the AoE groups than the single target currently.
Let me just check my enemy kill court here. Yes, it looks like indeed that is true. The Retribution 12-man is getting a lot of the kills secured here, but that's not necessarily. You cannot entirely attribute it to them because, like I said, even if these Witch Hunter groups, these single target groups, are not getting kills, they're putting enough pressure on these healers that are creating opportunities.
And now it seems the different groups are merging together, and there's big blob fights in the middle. It's harder to see what is going on, but I have seen no kills.
We do have 10-3 kills in favor.
Oh, it seems the order single target just got down one of the Squick herders in the back and going back into the middle.
Now what I'm really looking for here, Hasmi, I'm looking for our ordered single target teams to get a kill on a healer and then a stake. And we do see Gweniel under pressure here from the Yahweh 6-man, but he's not taking much damage. They do get the kick on the tank. Not a lot of burst to get through that Warrior Priest though. Okay, the second single target team is converging on him. There we saw, I think that was the Siphon. He healed himself back up to full. He's kiting out. Yep, he's definitely back into safety here. Now Nuts fully engaging over here onto, it looks like Scourge. So they're retreating. And everyone's playing pretty safe here because there's a lot of teams looking to get to M4 for a big, big drop. The Kreese team wants to get to M4, I'm guessing, more than likely. The Dissolution 12-man wants to get to M4. Oh yeah, and here's Grizgors. We should have marked him, but that's okay. We got the mark on Kreese. Those two are working together. When Grizgors, the Slayer, and Kreese, maybe the kill on Naz. We get the kill on Naz. Do we go for the stake though? Is the question. I doubt they go for the stake here. They want to get a stake on a healer. But they're keeping that squig locked down, which is very important because that's providing the Pierce defenses buff for Destro. So they're not going to be able to snowball on the AoE nearly as hard if they cannot have that stacked with Furious Howl. We got the res on Naz. He's coming back in. He's going to get his utility off. All right, what am I seeing over here? So Kreese, we're engaging into... Oh, Kerpo's in here as well. Kerpo's a very good tank. Plays for FMJ right now, I believe. And this is, again, they're skirmishing the enemy single target team, trying to keep them under control, which is kind of a defensive tactic here.
The battle is definitely spreading out now, so I'm curious if that is going to be bad for the Destruction team, because they're getting really far from each other.
It's really hard to say, because both teams, they're playing so defensive because they don't want to lose. Any small mistakes, and this can snowball out of control very quickly. The kills are starting to balance out a little bit. Destruction's getting a little bit of ground covered here. We did have 2 more kills for Order, and I think 3 more kills for Destruction. There's another Order kill. But it definitely looks like the Retribution 12-man is having a lot of fun being supported by the Advarka group and the top group.
Yeah, and while the Order healers are definitely getting on really low health quite often, it seems Destruction is just not able to get that final push down with their health. And they always get away.
So we may see some convergences in strategy here. At some point, we might see Disso run in and work with their single target team and do a massive AoE drop on top of those healers. Anything like that occurs, if you can get 3 to 4 kills at one time, you can win the fight in the next 10 seconds. But we have a lot of pressure on Kluklu. We actually get 2 M4s popped on the Ostagar team. That's a misplay. Double M4 use in the Kreese team. They might end up paying for that. So if we get any more pressure on the Team Spirit team in the next minutes, this could be very painful for them. So they're playing defensively. It looks like they're still hunting down Scourge. They do not want their single target team to get any value at all. He's taking a lot of damage, but he's not quite dying. We're getting a lot of great cross healing here on the destruction side. Now Order side really needs to capitalize on this, and I see Nut pounce in. They're doing a big damage drop here. Let's see what happens. This is a lot on their DPS. I wish Nut maybe would have gone for some healers there. I think that might have been a slightly better play, but that's okay.
And as they pop the M4,
Yahweh,
they have
M4.
retreated, or he was punted away, I think, but they definitely disengaged.
A small table caught in a very awkward spot here. A lot of damage on him. We get the Grimnir shield. That's his 3-minute cooldown guard. So right now that guard is not being used on the melee DPS for the Order side. Okay, but guard swapped again. Yahweh probably could have kept that pressure there. Looks like Yahweh is definitely trying to hunt down healers. But the thing is, on the destruction side, we have no Witch Elves. So if they get healer kills, they cannot deny the res with the stake. So they're going to have to tempo very fast before the reses happen. And this fight, I think I'm going to have to jump down. This fight is really starting to move toward the Order side of the map here.
Yeah, and the single target group from Destruction is going down quite fast. Yahweh has gone down as well. We have seen an FMJ tank die. There are the revives going out, but remember, each time there's a revive going out, that takes away from healing, and it's hard to come back from that if the pressure is constant.
It's all about creating these little gaps in the enemy team's overall flow. But all of these players are very experienced, and it's very hard to push them into a big enough mistake to cause a snowball effect. Now we do see some pressure on Florida Choppa, but he's getting healed up, playing defensive. He has good positioning there. He's keeping his front face toward the enemy, so he's getting all the parries. And we see the entire Order moving in this direction. Like, this could be a big clump fight in a moment here. I'm trying to see exactly what's happening.
There's a lot of AoE pressure on that Order group, but they have recovered from it, it seems. And now Destruction is a little bit on the back foot once again.
I don't think I've seen a single Choppa M4 yet, and I don't think I've seen an M4 drop from Team Spirit as well. And that's what I'm really looking out for. Alright, so let me see. We have the Krisa team moving to the right over here. So we see a tank kick. They're still trying to kill DPS from the looks of it. Nope, they're on Calm Down the Zealot, but he's getting a lot of cross healing. It can be very hard to kill a healer who is being healed by, up to 5-6 other healers at the same time. You have to essentially fully one-shot people.
And it seems this time around, Fuller is getting a massive burst from both Retribution and he's down. Fuller just went down. Order got a healer kill.
Are we getting the stake? I think we got the stake. Oh no, he got the res. We almost got the stake off. That was a very fast res. Oh, that stake could have been the end of this fight.
Really good contribution there and cooperation, because both Retribution and the Dvarkas group started to burst down that one Zealot, and they just couldn't out-heal that.
That's what kind of needs to happen here. We need to see enough coordination where they're getting through. Okay, we see an M4 pop from Lazy God as he drops to 40%, taking that guard damage. We're starting to really see some coordination from all 4 groups on this side. And I see Scourge is actually using his Marauder pull to pull out a Slayer, and he wants to reduce their ability to have massive clump damage and also maybe kill that Slayer. They tried a little bit, but he's going back into the blob. They're just creating a ton of pressure. You see these Destro tanks are just melting. Look, if we see Inamil right now, they are bellowed. Now he's numbed again. Inamil's down.
He's down.
Do they have AP? Do they have cooldowns? If they can keep this going, with some damage on Grisgors. Grisgors kiting out. Very good. Grisgors is one of the best defensive players on the server. Again, the double M4. This is going to end up costing them at some point. At least I hope so. That double M4 is very punishing.
Meanwhile, another Marauder went down, unfortunately. And
a lot of pressure on Clockwise as well.
From Order.
Okay, good. We're getting some good kill trace here. Now, Order has stayed significantly in the lead on the damage output here and the kills. Here's a Furious Stomp from Clackaw. What are we doing with it? Are we single targeting down this Warrior Priest? It looks like he's not getting a lot of team follow-up. That's a big spike, though. Big spike. He's getting low. There's a punt out and an M4 on Clackaw. It's a lot of return damage and control, stopping that damage. We see an attempted Mara pull on Shet. Shet's getting pulled in. There's a KD. The insta-guard swap from Balior. Both tanks. Good recovery. And Zumos, obviously, has the Archmage with some of the best burst healing in the game. They easily save Shet here.
Yes, and they're back on full health already.
Now, Archmages are very, very potent single-target burst healers. Very hard to kill through that. We do see an M4 popped here from an Order team.
Oh, Small Table might be going down on Order, and Small Table just went down from Order side. That is -1 Room Priest from Order. So Destruction might be able to do something here.
And they did try pressure on Shet again, but Shet again slips away. Very good heal here, but the Zumos is a little bit isolated here. If they do a swap on Zumos, this could be very dangerous for them. Good control from Balior, though. Good movement from Zumos. Now this AoE fight, it just seems back and forth. Overall favored toward Order at the moment. See, I'm not quite sure what the change is they made. I think that the Slayer builds must be a little bit different today. We're not trying to play around the Broken Flurry tactic. They're getting out a lot of IDs, a lot of massive pressure. And then, of course, Matt, who is an exceptional DPS player on Bright Wizard, creating so much damage. So I would say the safety net I described earlier is definitely on the Order side. Here we have Fuller go down again. Do we get the stake is the question. They did use a Slayer M3. Okay, there's the res. No stake,
there's a revive,
unfortunate.
there's no stake.
Let's see what Kreese is doing, because he is the only stake on the team for Order. They're a little bit on the defense right now. There's going to be some pressure on Scourge. It looks like Scourge in a lot of trouble right now. I don't see an M4. Scourge might drop. A lot of healing. Up, Scourge is down. So that's
massive
a single
damage
target team
there from all those Slayers.
So now they got to pick on that single target team. That team is going to be out of the fight for at least a couple seconds. So this gives the time for the Order team. They could fully converge and they can create a massive amount, a whirlwind of damage to absolutely delete some things.
And there on that snowball, Dolbus just went down with the Zealot too. So Destruction is on -1 healer, even though the revive did go out.
So now where is Kreese? I want to see him get a stake. They're on Queebs. It's a nice flee from Queebs, so he's getting out of danger. He does not want to risk his death at all. Probably an AP pot. Flee is not very punishing. You lose your morale and your AP, but you can AP pot, so it's really only your morale you're losing. There was some pressure on Kreese there. I think I saw a Vanish. And then we do see an M4 for the NGE team with Queebs. This is a massive, massive stack of Order. This is going to create that big safety net I was talking about. A lot of these healers there are standing inside that safety bubble.
There was a massive damage drop there. 4 Destruction players even went down. One of them a healer. So this might be snowballing out of control now.
Dissolution is doing a big 12-man drop here. Looks like on the Advarka team and on Nutbiter as well. There's a Bellow. There's a very well-timed Bellow on the Clacklaw team. They want to be on the defense. My guess is that Dissolution wants to be on the defense right now and kite around because they want to build morale and get a good Choppa M4 off. I don't think I've seen one yet this game. A little bit of pressure on Nizu, but Nizu is going to be notoriously hard to kill. I wish you guys luck. Good positioning from Zumos here as well. He's going to be hotting and supporting that entire Order blob. A little bit of back and forth in the AoE, nothing too fancy. We did see a double Bellow drop on the Destro. So it looks like Retribution just trying to create as much control on the enemy team so they can just keep pumping out damage. But now that Bellow's over, if these Destro are not dead, there was a Destro M4 to counter the damage. Looks like, again, we see Megadwap being defensive here. There's Choppas. They just want to be safe and get to their M4. And like I said, with the Order has the AoE advantage here, so the Destruction team is forced to be more defensive, more mobile, and kite around. It always leans one way or the other, and today it just happens to be that Order is winning that fight. It's probably due to Matt on Bright Wizard, would be my guess. That's enough to push the tables in their favor. Let's check on Matt here.
Advarka's single target group has been definitely pushing a lot, and they've been getting a lot of kills, which we have been missing somewhat because we can't really be on both places at the same time. But once again, they are doing a lot of pressure with that single target group.
So this is an interesting fight because there has not been a definitive winner here, but there has been a big favor in kills in the Order. We're seeing a couple more Order kills coming up now. This AoE blob is just so dangerous. And what's happening is they're going to get the reses here, but if you die, you lose your morale. So they're kind of want to build up for that tempo advantage with the morale, but if you die, you don't have morale. So it's hard for them to stay on the front foot. What am I seeing here? I just heard a kill. I think that was a Destro kill.
A Squick Herder went down, and Zarfu just barely escaped the Slayer Bowl.
Another M4 here for the Clacklaw team. They're trying to be defensive. I need to get out of the way of these people. And it's a little bit split right now for Order. It's a little bit of a disjunction, which could be punished, and Dissolution does look like they want to punish it. But there's so much pressure on these Dissolution players. They're just having so much difficulty staying in the fight. We do see an M4 on the Trag team. Trag, I don't know. I think he might be a Retribution Slayer. But they did a very good job. He saw the M4, and he kept up the damage pressure. Because when you have that M4, you know you are relatively safe. You should keep doing damage. Keep the pressure going.
In the meantime, we could see on the screen a Rune Priest going down, and also now a Slayer. So Destruction is getting those kills in the meantime, and they're doing fine. Also, I think, was that oh, that was just a knockdown. For a moment, I thought they got another kill.
Oh, Team Spirit, they forced an M4 and Calm Down team. Now it looks like they're trying to punish Queeps. Queeps not fleeing out, taking a lot of damage, getting a lot of cross heals, but look how low his health is getting. There is finally they forced the M4, so they forced 2 M4s in the last 10 seconds here. Now, if they can keep this damage up, this pressure up, this tempo going, they could snowball this. I want to see some more work.
Is getting in those kills. Hot Lara just went down as well. They are slowly getting those kills, and it seems they are getting the momentum here that we can clearly see.
All it takes for Destruction to win this outright is a few key kills timed with a couple of M4s from DPS. So, even though Order is very ahead on kills, this could be a full wipe on Order with the right plays at the right moments. I do not have a favorite in this matchup yet. Now we see Clacklaw's team is on the far side, a little bit defensive. Now the Order that are locked in over here, I'm guessing, or the Destruction rather, who are locked in over here, they're taking a lot of damage.
It seems we just had a Choppa getting stuck in the terrain, but they fortunately got out. That is scary when you have 3 or 4 Slayers on you and you're stuck in the terrain.
We see the Marauder M1 route on small table. That's aggressive, the Marauder M1 route, because you cannot use confusing movements. You lose your best defensive morale to get a good single target CC. They tried that on small table. They do not secure the kill.
And they swapped immediately over to another Rune Priest who just barely got away with a millimeter of health. It's really unlucky for Destruction. They were so close to double healer kill even.
Now what I'm waiting for in this matchup again is I'm waiting for a big Destruction morale drop, or I'm waiting for the Team Spirit team to get a big tempo kill on a couple of healers along with a stake. Either of those two things could determine what ends this fight in the next few minutes. See a knockdown on Grisgors. This is a lot of defensive play here. We're trying another attempt on Faller here. His HP is spiking, but he is a fairly defensive zealot. We do see the M4 force. That's very good. So now they likely do a swap here. They want to find a new target. It looks like they're on Scourge, so the M4 is over. This could be a fast swap. He has no immunity, so we could see a knockdown tank punt play. Good kiting though. We see the root break charge. There's the knockdown. A little bit out of sync for the rest of the team. He's getting healed from a lot of healers. I do not predict him dying.
Meanwhile, there was a very good question in chat. What is the end goal of these fights? Is there a time limit as far as you know? What determines the
as far
winner?
as I know, I don't know if they have a time limit. This is pretty new. There's not a lot of established rules, but the goal is to wipe the enemy team. But you have to understand, in this extreme high level of 24v24, it's hard to get a big enough advantage to kill enough people on the enemy team to ever finish the fight.
Well, if it is going for a wipe, everyone grab your popcorns. We might be here for a while, and we're gonna have a good fight to look at.
We see the Marauder pull on Zumos here, but we did not get the insta KD. That was a little bit of lack of coordination there. And the Mind Killer stack is a little bit strange. They're stacking it 3 times instead of 1, but that's okay. Meanwhile, was this pressure on Faller again? Or Doctal? They're trying, it's one of the Dissolution healers. Not getting a lot of progress there. So mainly what I'm watching for is I'm watching Nut, I'm watching Clacklaw, and I'm watching Kreesa's team. Because those are the teams I think which will have the biggest impact to end this fight. There was a lot of pressure again on the Dissolution team, but they are healing up. We do see another Furious Stomp and Drop here. Coordinated. Let's see if they get enough pressure.
There was
on
a
this
massive bomb, damage bomb on the Order AoE group, but they are just coming out of it. That was so close. 5 or 6 people were barely alive. That looked beautiful.
We did see another tank M4 there. That was very well timed. If that was another second late, that could have been 2 to 3 kills at once. So again, it's just this back and forth, big damage, blitzkrieg, damage trading from the AoE teams, and we're just waiting to see if the single target teams can get enough value, drop 1 or 2 healers at the same time, which can be enough. We do see a focused Mind Flea out of Zumos. This is big commitment for kiting. He's being chased down severely, but focused Mind Flea is a very good defensive tool, and he gets very far away. He's very safe. So now we see an M4 for Yahweh as they counter pressure, trying to peel for Zumos. And then it looks like the Scourge team, they're on Small Table. Small Table's taking a lot of damage, very low in HP. There's the Grimnir Shield. That's got to be disappointing for them to see that Grimnir Shield. That could have been a kill there if not for that tool. And what do I see here? It looks like... Oh, well, one of their Rune Priests staggered me. I'm sure that was an accidental misplay.
Well, Destruction seems to be more on the defense right now. I think the groups are repositioning, preparing for the next assault. But at the same time, the Order single target group, it has forced out another M4 as they were pressuring Goblin Shaman.
And they just need to play a little bit faster here. If they can keep the tempo up, find these key targets faster, go target to target, and force these M4s out quicker, soon enough, just like Overwatch, you're going to force your enemy team out of tools. They're going to have no morale economy left, and then you can win the game. So now we see an attempt on Balior here. We do have to drop the Bastion, but the Vigilance pop, very good. Balior is playing sword and board with the Vigilance. He's not solo tanking his group, but this is smart play for him to play sword and board because he's going to be very safe, very hard to kill, while still providing most of the Cobb's utility. Back and forth skirmishing. I think the AoE teams we might see a big impact. Doctal's low on HP. Doctal might go down. Doctal does go down. This is one of the core healers for Dissolution. Now, do we get the stake? He's not rezzed yet. This could be a stake opportunity, but Kreesa is nowhere nearby that I see. Okay, we do get the res on Doctal. I don't know if I've seen a single stake this game.
I'm not sure. We've been trying to follow them, but I don't think we've seen anything. There's currently
here's a big AoE drop from Destruction.
Oh, and yes.
They're trading damage at the same time. We did see a Siphon from one of the docks, and we see an M4 for a Destruction team. So now Destro's kiting out, waiting to get topped off. That was a trade that did favor Destruction, but I don't know if they recognized it. If they can get back in and create damage again. Okay, here's the next Furious Stomping. Now, what's interesting is the Clacklaw team is running double Choppa, and they're likely using the cooldown reduction tactic as well as the BG for increased cooldown reduction. That means they can use Furious Stomping with almost 60% uptime, just creating massive, massive AoE pressure constantly. That's a very, very good tactic. We're seeing an attempt on Ostagar here. No guard on him yet. He's getting low. There's a pot. There's an M4. They got the M4 at least from the Advarka team, and they're still being very aggressive here. I'm not quite sure. It looks like they're trying to kill Suitor, not having too much impact there.
And they're backing off. Meanwhile, while you were watching on this side, on the other side, Order almost got another Destruction tank down, but they just got away with barely any health left. So currently it seems we're dancing around the different groups. But there's a massive Order damage drop in the middle, and multiple Destruction are going down from what I've seen.
And again, the kills,
just brought back from nothing, actually.
It's about 2-1 in favor of Order at the moment, which is actually better than it was at the beginning of the fight. So it's a little bit more even. I think Destruction's warmed up a little bit. And this Destruction group is absolutely terrifying if they're if they ever have the opportunity to unleash the Choppa M4s as well, but I just have not seen it yet. And we did. Here's another Furious Thompson from Clacklaw. Let's see what they do with this here. Was that an M3 as well? I think maybe on Punga. Punga's doing just fine though. And I do want to mention we did see both M4s used, both tank M4s used from the Team Spirit team. So I think for at least the next few seconds, they will be relatively weak, but they are just training Suitor. We do see Suitor drop here in kind of a weird spot, probably LSing some healers. He might be tough to res in this spot as well.
Folder also went down in the middle, so -1 Zealot destruction side. They have to be careful.
We do see both reses, very good from Queeb, so we're getting fast reses off. And one thing is, you have to make sure you get these reses quickly. You cannot allow your team members to be dead for a long amount of time. It creates too much of a tempo advantage for the enemy team, so these fast reses are good. I was not expecting this first fight to be this competitive and back and forth, but this is very, very well done.
Yeah, but it seems Order is on a snowball right now. They're getting multiple destruction down. Destruction is spreading all over the place, and they're low on healers as well. They have to revive constantly to stay alive.
Is this a reset? This looks like a reset. I think that was indeed a victory.
It might be. It is over from the look of it. And do we have a final result? Because that was either reaching a kill limit or we reached a time limit there. It was a really fun looking fight though. We've seen some massive damage bombs. And the health bars were just dancing from 100% to 10% and back to 100 again. It was really fun to see. But
yeah, it has me. That was quite a fight. Definitely favored in kills on Order, but no one was really allowed to snowball out of control. It was very well played on every side.
And do we have a final result? Which I would assume that Order might have come out victorious here. They definitely had more moments where they had the advantage, but I don't believe they have said anything.
Okay, so I did get a message from Pong. He says they play to 75 kills or 30 minutes. So we hit the 75 kill mark. So Order did claim the victory there. That's why
awesome.
We had the reset.
Congratulations to them then. And if I believe there will be more fights, I think these events will be 2 or 3 fights. And my immediate question to you would be, was there any surprise to you then in the very first game? And is there anything that you would point out? How were the different groups performing? And was there any particularly interesting anomaly that we should know about?
There was nothing too out of the ordinary for me. I think it was a little bit surprising to me that the Team Spirit team wasn't being more aggressive on healers. They were instead opting to contend with the enemy's single target teams, keep them under control to keep their teams safe, which ended up working out in their favor, obviously. And then also, I don't think we saw any big morale drops. Every team was forced to be quite defensive with their morales. We saw a few Choppa M3s, a few Slayer M3s, but I don't think I saw any Divine Blasts. I don't think I saw. We actually didn't even have a slotted Axe Slam in this round. I don't think I saw any Whis Fightin' Bettas either, or Stomp to Yards. So much pressure that people were just not really able to get their big plays off.
Yeah, it really seemed like, especially on Destruction side, they had to be on the defensive so many times that they just couldn't be as aggressive as normally you would prefer. And definitely stops the snowballing that you mentioned, that even a few kills can give you the opportunity to roll over Order, but if you get that counter pressure, then simply they have to be on the defensive and they can't coordinate their damage without risking too much.
Now, some of the Order players might be surprised at how well they were dealing with the Choppa damage, because normally if you see that out in RvR, you see yourself and your friends dying very, very quickly. So I would like to actually thank our Swordmaster there, Cerilius, for this. The Swordmaster provides the Raking Talons damage debuff. He's probably keeping that up on all the Choppas and drastically lowering their damage output, so they just could not ever hit that critical mass of damage. And at the same time, he's likely providing the passive healing to everyone. The Swordmaster is just such an incredible tank right now, especially in the hands of a good player.
And now with that said, do you think there will be any major changes for the next rounds that you would expect
I'm not
these
sure.
warbands to do?
I'm really not sure. I think a lot of these comps may not shift. I doubt Retri shifts much. I doubt Team Spirit shifts much. Tup may shift things because Matt's just a creative spirit. But at the same time, they may not change anything. On Destro's side, if I was to guess, we may see a renowned respec on some of the DPS. We might see a slight change in coordination in how they play, and maybe a little bit built more toward the defensive side, because if they do that, that's going to allow them to more easily build their big DPS M4s and win off that. We might see that, or we may not.
And now it's interesting, I'm not sure about the rules there. Is it allowed to swap careers, to change the composition of your warbands between the different rounds?
We were allowed to last time, but I'll ask one of the event organizers and find out for sure.
Now, I would like to apologize. During the fight, some of the markers disappeared. Unfortunately, those are, again, technical limitations with the add-ons, which I can always try to counter by mouse overing the targets, but might not always work. And in the meantime, while we are having this downtime between the rounds, if anyone has questions, maybe to Uchoo or what's happening, or if you need any clarifications, this is the best time to do it. Yes, there are multiple rounds. I believe these events are 1.5 or 2 hours long, so depending on how long these fights are, they can squeeze in 3 or 4 battles. But as you can see, if it's close and you don't really get vibes, then it can take quite a lot of time.
And so swaps are allowed, and again, the rules are stated. They play to 75 kills or 30 minutes, and I'm guessing they also probably play a full wipe rule as well. If you kill the enemy team, then that's just an outright win. But my guess is they will do a best of 3 today, but we'll find out for sure in time.
And hopefully these in-between breaks are not going to take too long, but we're just going to wait for an announcement on that. If it takes long, we can always visit the lakes and see what's happening, though I haven't checked the campaign currently. And in the meantime,
KB has been completely abandoned. As to be expected, they attempted the siege on the 3-star keep, and it failed. And as you can see, the numbers have dropped there, and everyone has shifted to Ostland, which Order has captured. The Ostland keep has been captured by Order. That zone's going to be flipping any moment now.
And in the meantime, you can also see a few spectators have showed up as we are showcasing this event. I would like to thank everyone for being polite and just watching. But hopefully everyone is enjoying the event. I want to repeat again, it's also going to be uploaded on our YouTube channel, unless we meet some technical difficulties. Hopefully not. And if you do enjoy these Realm Watch episodes, then make sure to let us know, and then we can have more of these. But we still also plan on having more casual Realm Watch, where we are following the lakes and casual RvR. But we were asked if we could do this, and Uchoo also generously offered to commentate it. Otherwise, this could not have happened. So it is definitely a good test of the new Realm Watch, and hopefully everyone is enjoying it. And while we're waiting, I might try to message here someone, because we have promised. Oh, I think there's a fight going on already. Then we're going to have to wait with it, because we have promised a giveaway, but we might have to wait a little bit more with it if a fight is starting.
Destro is stacking and dismounting, and I think dismounting is the key here, that people are ready. Order looks like they're not quite ready yet. You may or may not have time for a giveaway, but also in chat, if anyone has any comments about the broadcast, we would love the feedback. Because obviously, we're just 2 people. We're not going to see everything. If people see a specific thing about the broadcast they think could be improved, feel free to mention it.
Originally, we also wanted to include buffs and showing player status, different buffs and status icons. But unfortunately, once again, we are held back by technical difficulties and also being able to fly around at the same time. We would not want to accidentally slow down someone or make someone fly. So it is all up to Uchoo to commentate. And the second round has just started, so I'm going to give you the stage over here.
Yes, Hasmi, we do have the start of the first engagement here. Just a little bit of contention between the AoE teams. It's pretty soft. A little bit of pressure on Clacklop. They're likely looking for an opportunity to push through on a key target. I'm just waiting to see that Furious Stomp and the big damage drop. The Choppas and Slayers, they do need 20 seconds in combat to hit full red to really get that peak damage output. And this is a slog. This is pretty stacked up here. What is this? Is this an early attempt on a kill on Doctyl? They get close, but it's kited out pretty well. They're just sitting on him. I'm not sure if they're going to get enough pressure to get this kill off here, because if you take too long on a healer, then you have up to 7 other healers cross-healing them. So you need to be very, very quick on the kills. It's all about tempo and outplaying the reaction speeds of your opponents. So now we have a lot of pressure on the Laura team. He's good kiting from Laura, just back and forth on the AoE team, because again, when that healer is pressured, that's going to create gaps in the recovery ability of these teams. So one of the other 4 teams, oh, Kerpo almost dies to guard damage. What an incredible drop there. Now Kerpo's on the back foot. He's playing back, waiting to get topped off here. And I think we're seeing a lot of pressure on these Destruction healers, because the recovery time seems a little bit rough. But Destruction can turn this around with a big damage drop, create counter pressure. Look at Yahweh. His health is... Yahweh does go down. They are creating an absolute ton of pressure this time around. My guess is this was a slight shift in their strategy, and they're
he has
trying to
swapped
create
over
more...
to a Choppa, so definitely career changes are allowed then. We're seeing more Choppas instead of Marauders.
So it's likely what we're seeing here is they want to create a bigger Destro damage ball. They want to have that AoE ball, that safety, but they're not quite achieving it. In fact, the opposite's happening, and Destruction is getting just melted here. The Order AoE damage is just so strong in this matchup. I'm not quite sure what they changed. I'm sure we'll find out later. But these Choppas are all over the place trying to kite out and play for their lives.
And in the meantime, the Order single target group is picking the DPS off one by one. So Destruction has to be careful. And currently also another M4 was forced out from the massive AoE pressure that we could see.
Now, the interesting thing about Destruction is the Chosens and the Black Orcs do have the morale pump. They can get to M4 very quickly. So it's usually pretty early in the fight that we see defensive M4s pop. So Destruction can use that as a tool to leverage to stay aggressive and just simply not be able to die. But there's just so much consistent pressure on now Dissolution. These Choppas are kiting out. What are we seeing here? An attempt on Clacklaw. Clacklaw is dropping rage. He's doing a very good job staying alive. Now, I'm really hoping to see some Choppa M4s in this round from someone. We added another Choppa. Surely we get one M4. Here's another Furious Stomp in here. What are we going damage on? He's again just kiting out, but he's just Furious Stomping here. The radius on the ability is very large right now, so you can do damage pretty far away. Now, what is our Team Spirit team up to here? We are chasing some healers down finally here. We see another attempt on Fuller, but it's a good knockdown. There's a kill on Fuller. Do we get a stake? Through anti-crit as well, the Absolute Preservation was used. No, double res. He does not get the stake off. I wonder if he's just chosen to not use stake in these games. It is a possibility.
Unfortunately, I did miss that as they were just under the hill. I could not find them with the camera, but and then it seems there was no stake, if I heard you right.
Yeah, we did see the rampage popped on Grisgorz, or I think Grisha is how he says his name, and how it's pronounced in Russian. During his rampage, there was a punt, so that was well played by the tanks.
And they are definitely focusing at the tanks currently. They just got a Chosen down, and now they are focusing at Dissolution. Black Orc, who is struggling to survive, but it seems the healers are stabilizing.
We do see the numbing strike there, but Black Orcs, they can be pretty tanky, especially in that top end gear, which he's in, lives just fine through that numb. Black Orcs can be more vulnerable to a numb because the current meta build does not use the block channel typically, so a numb can drop them to near zero avoidance because they typically stack a lot of block. If you have 60 block and 30 parry, a numb will drop you to 10% block. That's all you have. You can die very easily. but he lives just fine. We see another punt on Rothra. They're simply trying to rotate out these order DPS and keep them under control so there's not too much damage at one time. And it's not a lot of destruction kills. This has definitely been order favored. There's another M4 pop. /5 here, his team. Another M4 popped. So if order keeps up this pressure, this could snowball out of control.
Yes, I don't know if you are seeing the same thing, but I think this time around order is definitely having more pressure on destruction, or maybe destruction is just having a harder time stabilizing.
What I'm noticing here is that order is playing much more as one big blob and trying to create the AoE damage. But it might be a pick on Shet. He gets the Grimnir Shield off before the knockdown. I don't think he's running SOS. That's a little bit greedy, but that's good. That's very good support from the top team. Shet lives just fine. He did use Focus Mind earlier, so now Shet has no tools. If there's another attempt on Shet in the next 30 seconds, he could possibly die. Great positioning from Nizu over here. Good positioning overall from all the healers. All right, we see a channel coming out from Grisha. We do get another kill on Suitor. These Choppas are just having a rough time, and because they're taking so much damage, these destruction tanks are also just getting melted by guard damage. Now, the interesting thing, Order, they are not running a Pierce Defenses in their comp, and I don't think they're running a Staggering Impact either, so they don't quite have the Avoidance debuff cheese where they can melt through quite as easily, but the Slayers, they don't quite need that as much because they do have the Rampage and the Numb, so they do it by themselves, and as a result of that, we do see a lot of these tanks dying.
Yes, as you were just explaining that, another destruction tank went down. It seems whenever the AoE and the single target groups of order meet for a single burst, they can just remove a tank from the battlefield in moments.
Now, to the Slayer players in the chat, you'll notice what's happening here is a lot of these tanks, they'll get numbed at the same time as a Rampage from these Slayers. So it is almost the same effect as pre-nerf Rampage. All you have to do is include a numb, and as a result of that, some of these Destro tanks are just melting the same exact way they were previously before the Rampage nerf.
And destruction has to be very careful because what we could just see on the stream, some people are very out of position, being way too far away from their healers, and it doesn't matter their tanks. If you are out of the line of sight or you're out of distance, then nothing can save you. And Pongabo just went down.
And then we get the return kill on Megadwa. That's a very good damage trade. And then we see the Squig M3 as well from Naz. I'm not sure if that netted a kill, but that was a very even exchange there, I think. And let's see, it looks fully recovered at this point as well. Now, that's got to be a little bit demoralizing for the Dissolution team because, again, they want to build those Choppa M4s, but they're just having... Here's another defensive M4 pop here. I think, is this an order one? Yes.
That is an order one.
Spirit M4 used. But these destruction players, they want to get to these big morale drops, and they're just not quite getting there. I'm not sure if there's any morale drain involved here. It's possible there is a destruction warlord tank draining some morale, but probably not that much. It is another kill on poor Naz. He goes down on his Squig herder. And this is just a big order blob. They're starting to split a little bit here. There's a good res on Naz. He'll be recovered. And meanwhile, we have a Florida Chopper group, probably with Suitor as well, but they are being engaged by the Team Spirit group. It's very hard for these teams to split off on destruction and get any ST value because the Team Spirit group instantly moves to counter it.
Ooh, and it seems Team Spirit might have just wiped the NGE single target group, though Necromod is still alive. They may have. But they just got 4 kills there, if I saw it right.
Advarka said, you guys are not allowed to have any fun today as long as I am alive. And that is exactly what we just saw. Advarka is one of the best tempo players in the game, and he tempoed through, I think that was 4 kills very quickly. They're going to have to recover this. I did not see if there was a stake. Let me check these corpses. No stakes. So these players can get rezzed, but they have not been rezzed. So Destro is heavily on the back foot right now.
I'm showing it on the stream. As you can see, these people are completely out of the battle, and that means that's a massive penalty.
I heard a kill on an elf. That was probably Doctyl dropping. Fuller just dropped as well. This could be a full wipe on destruction. The pure order aggression here really showing off. I think this was very good play, especially from the AoE team, and then I think Advarka was making very smart decisions in this round, and it paid off enormously for them. We get the kick on Kerpo. This might be finishing the round.
Yeah, and
I think we'll probably be seeing a reset here in a moment.
Yeah, they are resetting. Destruction is well, what's the proper term here? Admitting the defeat here, but another victory goes to Order here.
Let me just confirm with one of the event
Really well
organizers
played.
exactly what the win condition was there. But you see exactly what I mean. We got 2 kills at the same time, and that led into a snowball effect that ended the fight in less than a minute. That's all it takes. That's why these teams are so defensive and so careful, because if you allow your people to die at the same time, the fight can snowball absolutely out of control. That's
Yes,
very, very well played from
just
Order.
as Team Spirit wiped, well, closely wiped that NGE single target group, Order just snowballed from there, and then they pushed destruction the opposite side, so that single target group could not even be revived, and then it just it got out of control there. But in the meantime, Techno from the Return of Reckoning team has also arrived, and our giveaway bot has been fixed. So if Techno can start the giveaway, then we can start a quick giveaway section for 100 gold to everyone who would join in. So if Techno is here, you can start the giveaway in the chat, and it's also going to pop up on the screen. Anyone can participate. You will just have to type in the message that Techno is going to show. I'm also just messaging. And there you go, the giveaway is out. It's also shown on the screen. All you have to do is type giveaway, exclamation mark giveaway, and you have a chance for 100 gold from Techno's own pocket, sponsoring this Realm Watch.
I'd like to talk to Techno about some pig mounts. I think we used to have that as a giveaway option.
Well, in the future, we can always have other rewards as well, but we'll have to discuss that internally, of course. But if these streams and Realm Watch in general is popular and people enjoy it, then it's going to be more and more frequent again.
Hey, 100 gold on the current market, that's 523 tallies. You can nearly gear a full character for that.
So now going
It's a very
back,
good deal.
going back into the event, what would you say changed in the second game? We definitely saw a few characters swapped out, but for some reason, Destruction definitely struggled more compared to the first round. Was there anything that you can point out to everyone watching? What happened there? Or is that just one of those special occasions that you pointed out that if there is an unfortunate or really well-timed kill on certain people, then it can just snowball out of control, and that's just how it is?
The few things I'd point out from that match is A, the massive increase in Order coordination and aggression playing as that ball. And Order is so well known for this. They've always been just a devastating ball of AoE damage set up properly. I'm sure it was probably Matt who encouraged that role. And the Slayer play, I think, improved drastically. I saw a lot of rampage drops with numbs on the tanks, and they added another Choppa to the comp, which is a very squishy DPS. So the tank guarding him is getting just absolutely railed by guard damage. So that was very good coordination from the Slayers, and that created that tempo advantage early and forced them on the back foot. Destro could not play defensively enough to get to their M4s for the drops. And then what sealed the deal there was an overextension from the single target team from NGE, and Advarka noticed it, and he took the opportunity. He went back there. I'm not sure. Maybe there was some healer CC involved. It's possible Nizu got a good stagger on one of their healers, and they took apart that entire team in mere seconds, and that snowballed into a defeat for that entire team.
Interesting. And I have one specific question to you, Uchoo. As someone who is not that experienced of the game, one thing that I'm really curious to see here is that a lot of times, well, it could be just because of the Slayers, but that's not only from Slayers I've seen it, that there's been a lot of focus on these destruction tanks. So what is exactly that's happening there? Because a lot of the kills have been on the tanks and not the healers or the DPS that you would normally expect.
So if people are familiar with what EHP is, effective HP, what you're doing to scale your EHP is you're stacking a lot of armor, which is going to reduce your damage taken by, roughly 75%. And then you're going to have a lot of avoidance. These two-handed tanks especially, they stack up to 70% parry. So that's again another multiplicative layer of defense where 70% of the damage you take simply does not happen. But you can debuff both of those stats almost 2-0 even on a tank with just a couple of abilities. And tanks have to take a lot more damage than DPS because they guard someone. They put guard on someone, and half of the damage that person takes is redirected to the tank, but you can block and parry that guard damage. But then if you remove their ability to block and parry, they're simply taking a tremendous amount of damage, both from the AoE and the damage directed at the tank, and then the damage directed at that DPS, and they can die in seconds. So playing tank is very, very difficult at times. You have to be very aware of what's happening to you. And we just saw, like I said, very good play from the Slayers. There's a lot of numbs on tanks, and a lot of tanks died.
Yes, and just like how we, and thank you very much for the explanation, just how we were talking about this before the event started, Slayers are definitely still extremely dangerous here. And if anything, this shows that a well-coordinated Slayer bomb can be very scary for destruction side. And it's good to see regardless that in this more organized environment, we are seeing, I think, definitely more Slayers than White Lions compared to what you see on the lakes.
I really, really enjoy Order's comp because we do have the 2 White Lions and the Bright Wizard. The Bright Wizard does a tremendous amount of damage, and you got to remember they're magic damage, so they're not contending with armor, they're not contending with the parry that these melee DPS typically have a lot of through their weapon skill, and they'll stack parry through renown. So the Bright Wizard can drop tremendous amounts of damage, and then he gives the important buffs. Everyone knows about the proc meta right now, so supporting the White Lions with that proc damage, the White Lions who hit so fast, can create so much consistent damage and burst damage. And also the big thing is the White Lions have an AoE interrupt. Destruction is very, very reliant on channels for their AoE damage. So a well-timed echoing roar or even the Swordmaster has an AoE interrupt. They can stop Destruction's damage almost completely. They can just never create enough critical mass of damage to be able to secure the kills. And then you're just forced to play on the back foot. And that's been the case in the game for years. If you are good at interrupting, you are going to carry fights. And we're seeing a lot of that. Good echoing roars and good interrupts from the Swordmasters.
Yes, and unfortunately, it is the current state of the balance that, of course, interrupts also have a larger range than it's desired, which is already being addressed by the balance group. We're waiting for the patch to be deployed, but that is going to be a big effect also on the balance of the game once that patch is out, and then we'll see where it goes from there. But you did mention another thing that people who might not be around in these circles that much, or potentially new players, what does it exactly mean? If you can explain it to us when you talk about the proc meta.
Procs is an effect that happens when you hit someone. So for instance, the Bright Wizard gives a buff to their party called Flames of Ruin. So it makes it so you have a chance on any direct hit that you will do a slight bit of extra damage. So if you're a class that creates a lot of hits very quickly, then you're creating this proc effect very quickly and a lot. And it's not mitigated, I think, at all by toughness. And it also does elemental damage, so resist debuffs make it so it does quite a bit of damage over time. So it's a very large supplement to damage, especially AoE, at very little cost.
Yeah, so essentially you only need to have some of these careers in your party. They give out their buffs to the whole party, and in itself, it is a massive damage boost in that case, and more pressure.
And your prime candidates are your Warrior Priests, who provide the damage prayer, which gives your entire party a damage proc, and then your Bright Wizards, who give the buff, which does the same thing, but it's a different type of damage. So these were buffed recently, so there used to be a longer internal cooldown on the proc rate, but that's been reduced to 0.25 seconds. So your ability to proc it is almost uncapped. Like, there's very few classes that are able to even try to proc it faster than is possible right now. So it's a lot of free damage. And then just a real quick talk again about the choppas and the state of the interrupts. Again, with the state of the bugged flurry and lots of chopping, the Choppa damage output is almost all from Furious Stomping and their 2 damage channels. So if you're stopping 2 of their damage channels, which they can stack on Furious Stomping, they have very, very low pressure to kill anything. And we did see more Choppas added to the comp in that last match. So the fact that they're probably able to achieve even less damage now if there's good interrupts involved, which is a sad state of affairs. But I think that bug is going to be fixed soon.
Yes, we have that in the pipeline. Whenever the patch will be ready, and it's almost here, where it's going to be out. And once again, with the changes coming, there's probably going to be a big shift in the balance, and then once again, it will have to be observed how it affects the game, and we hope everyone is going to be enjoying it. Now we can see that Destruction is moving, and potentially they might be getting ready. Order is still on their mounts. Yeah, I think just like you said, they have to dismount to show that they're ready and move a little bit closer to the arena.
That second round was quick and exciting, but in the last round, I'm really hoping to see some big M4 plays from the Choppas, or at least from the Team Spirit team. But we'll see if that happens or not.
Definitely cheering for Destruction here. And before it starts, because it looks like soon it might start, another warning that there is a giveaway going on for 100 gold. So just type in !giveaway in the chat, and you will have a chance at winning gold from Techno's own pockets. The giveaway will be up until the next round starts. So make sure to enter. If you do have to leave, but you have entered the giveaway, do not worry. If you happen to win, even though you're not here, but you entered, we will whisper you, and we'll make sure that you do get your gold. Just make sure that you allow whispering to you on Twitch. But do not worry, even if you have to go AFK, that does not mean that you lose the opportunity to win the giveaway.
Now, I'm just trying to take a glance here to see if there's any swaps on either side. I think order is the same.
Order might be the same. I wonder if they're having a short break, but we weren't told. That would be rude of them, right? Yeah, we were just flying around here. But just joking, of course. But of course, if there is a break, we can always go to the lakes. But I think in this case, we might be having a break rather than people changing their builds, in my opinion. Destruction definitely seems ready.
Yep, Destro looks ready. I don't think I've spotted a lot of changes in the Destro comp here. I see CKR on two-handed BG. I'm not sure if he was in previously. He may have been, so I apologize if I didn't notice you before. But that could be a swap.
And Order is also on the move, so I think we're going to have the third round very soon. I'm going to try to refresh the markers on everyone. Destruction definitely had at least one swap. Okay, so I think it was only... is it Yahweh or Yui? I always thought that they pronounced it Yui, and now I'm not sure. But
I'm actually not sure. I've always called him Yahweh, but I've heard different things. I've never asked him directly how to say his name.
We will definitely have to reach out just to be safe. So I know that swap definitely happened, but I'm not sure if there were any other swaps. And since the next round is almost starting, we can close down the giveaway.
As well.
Oh, I see. And the round is starting. I'm giving the word over to Uchoo again, and the giveaway can be ended. And let's focus on the fight.
I don't like these early punts on tanks because, again, you have a lot of choppas. They're not red yet. You don't have that much damage. But that's it. It's at least showing us that Destro has a clear desire for aggression here. So I appreciate that. It's pretty brawly, pretty back and forth. My guess is that Team Spirit's going to play on the edge of this and, again, try to bait the opposing team into making another mistake just like the last round and punish it severely. We'll see if that happens again.
And yes, unfortunately,
it looks like Dissolution.
Went down.
Dissolution is swapped to a single target squad, and they are trying. It looks like there are attempts on healers now I like
Oh.
that. That could go well. But yeah, as far as the AoE blob goes, I think this is still going to be massively favoring the order side of things. I'm not sure if they made the right choices here to be more defensive against this, but we'll see. There's a lot of damage. We'll see if they trade back a little bit. There is a good trade. They did the bellow on the order blob, so they're probably going to get some damage off here, but it's a very good recovery. We do have good warrior priest stacking that blob on that side, getting that channel heal off. And then it looks like we're going a big swing aggressive play. They're pushing into some healers in the back line here. And I think the Team Spirit team is desperately going to try to peel this. They're going to try to pick out any weak link to stop them from having this aggression. Hot Laura playing on the flank here. I'm not sure if he's scared or if they're just looking for opportunity. Is he playing single target? I don't think he's playing single target, but let me see.
They were focused just a little bit earlier, so no wonder they backed out. But they are safe at the moment. And instead, we saw
We do get a kill on Pungabo.
Oh,
A kill on Pungabo, and okay, we did get the res there. So let's watch Dissolution a little bit here. The Juppy 6-man, I think they're going to be looking to create big opportunities and quick kills here. Let's see what happens here. Oh, the res sickness is noticed on Punga. Claw is on Punga, waiting for his team to follow up on him, but they're pretty hotly engaged right now. Let's see if they can cut through. That's CKR, Juppy, and I think Indy on Mara, I think is the team.
yes, and unfortunately, even though that single target Dissolution group got a kill, they were definitely counter-assaulted by Team Spirit, and they got 2 kills there, if I saw it right.
That's exactly what to expect, just like the last game. They want to bait the ST team away from the support of all the extra healers and create kills off of it. So we do see Krisa and Grisha here looking for a kill on Dolby, but he does have good positioning, moving towards other healers, getting a lot of support. I doubt this results in a kill. But they are going to sit and grind on him because, again, if you're sitting on a healer, they're not able to do their job. We do see an M4 pop for a destruction team as a result of this on the /5 group. So sitting on a healer can result in a lot of value, even if you don't kill them. And now we do see Team Spirit hotly contending the Dissolution 6-man as well. They want to stop them from getting any value because they know that if these guys are allowed to get value, they can lose the game quickly.
And Nut went down in the middle of that focus. It seemed like they might be able to heal him back up, but in the end, they got bursted down. But we already saw a revive happening.
We do have the tempo swap there under report of the Shaman, but again, great cross-healing. All the healers in today's games are doing a fantastic job. Even after an hour of slogging here, they're playing very well. In fact, I'd say they're playing even better than they were at the beginning. Now we do have another hotly contested AoE pile here. I'm looking for a big morale drop here. One of these two teams definitely has some big tools they want to drop to encourage this big stack, but it's a little bit passive here. I'm not quite sure what the intention is. I'm not seeing any morales used. And I'm unsure if Laura is AoE or ST. Okay, there's an Annihilate, so he's definitely still AoE.
It's still AoE, and once again, yeah, we in the middle where the chopper went down. But there are kills on both sides. Lego X also went down on order. But the revives are going out, and the battle continues.
The Disso team is taking so much damage. The Tup team and the Team Spirit team converging, and they do get the kill on Claw. They are punishing anyone who steps out of position. Yeah. It looked like an attempted kill on Juppy, but great tank play there. These two tanks are going to help keep each other alive, and they want to recover Claw and go back about doing their business here. So meanwhile, this is resulting in a pretty passive slog in the AoE blob, but like you said, they're getting a lot of destruction kills on these Choppas. These Choppas are just having the most difficult time staying alive against this White Lion, Bright Wizard, Slayer pressure. Absolutely notorious, and not surprising.
Yes, and just like you said, I still want to see that big destruction bomb, morale bomb happening. I'm definitely cheering at this point.
I think all these Choppas are just getting pounded through. We see Suitor dying, we see Yahweh dying. You cannot get to M4 if you're dead. So there is a bellow here on the Destro blob. Are they getting any damage off? It looks like a 12-man convergence on Punga, but he's being peeled. He does have the Swordmaster guard.
And from the look of it, 4 destruction members went down. I'm not sure if that was the single target group or not, but there are a lot of destruction down currently. And the order is snowballing because once again, destruction is split, and that means the revives are harder to pull off, the defenses are harder to pull off, and then order just has an easier time at picking destruction off one by one.
The revives are happening though. Again, it was the same thing as last round. Now this time it was the Dissolution single target team, which got isolated. Both their Choppas were killed, both DPS were killed, and that forced at least one morale 4 from the rest of the destruction team, because they just simply didn't have the mass to deal with the number disadvantage at the moment. And we see Florida Chopper here dropping very low. He's bellowed for his chopping. He's trying to stay out of range, kite out. He does pot, he gets topped back off, but the just enormous damage pressure is just, destruction is struggling so hard to stay alive in this AoE blob. It's such a big safety net, and then meanwhile we just have the Team Spirit team exploiting every good opportunity that is presented here. So we see another morale 4 here as we get a kill on Fuller here, and we see an M4 from the Team Spirit team.
And the AoE group also
aggressive.
got another destruction tank. It seems this is once again snowballing out, and I think there's a reset happening already.
Yeah, that might be the end of this round as well.
And once again, congratulations to Order. Once again, it was very similar to the second round. Now, do you think it is more that Order is getting a little bit more experience together and they know who to target or how to work together better and focus their targets and their bursts? Or do you think Destruction is getting a little bit more tired? Or perhaps the swaps to Choppas and more offensive Chosen is not working that well?
Well, I'll say the Dissolution swap to ST was a bold maneuver, and it's something I would put trust in normally, but it did get punished. So they tried to do basically the same thing, but they swapped up the comps a little bit, and they let Dissa try to take the ST team lead there, which got punished as well. And the only difference I'd say is that the Order team just seems to be doing what Order does best a lot better than they did in the first match. So, and how do you contend this? It's requires very good tank play from Destro, and I think maybe they could benefit from having a few more defensive tanks in the mix. I think might be the key to at least letting their Choppas get some damage out, and maybe a little bit more defensive builds on some of the DPS on Destro, which I don't think they've done, but we might see another round. We might see some swaps in builds or comp. We'll see though.
And yes, of course, it's also very much worth to point out that even though, of course, the careers and the balance matters, you have to point out that there are some players here who are extremely experienced and they know what they're doing. And this time around, one of the most experienced groups are also on the Order side, Team Spirit. And you could see just the amount of havoc that they can cause. But before we go on with the next round, if there is going to be a next round, then that means we can do another giveaway for another 100 gold from Techno's pocket, because that is everyone's goal to exhaust that purse over there. So let's try to do another giveaway for 100 gold. Please wait with the messages yet. Techno will have to initiate, but you will see the message pop up in chat, and I'm also going to mention it here. I did pop up the message a little bit early, and from what I'm seeing, is the event ending though? Maybe Destruction has called it. Do you have any information about that? And
no confirmation yet.
There's the giveaway in chat, so now please repeat ! giveaway, especially those who have said it a little bit earlier. Type it again for another 100 gold being given away. And I'm not sure if they're changing location or Order is also leaving. The event might have ended, which means we might keep the giveaway up, but we might have to transition over to the lakes. But we'll have to ask
yes,
around.
I have the confirmation. The event is over. They did 3 matches, and it was an outstanding Order victory. So well played by both teams. I'm a little disappointed I didn't get to see the big impact plays, but I understand. It was very, very tough to play in these situations. You could see just the absolute insane pressure that these elite players can create. It's very difficult to play against.
Definitely. And once again, both teams played really, really well. The very first round especially, I think that was the full 30 minutes, wasn't it? And and it was really, really fun to see. But once again, that is the nature of these fights, that once the snowball happens, it becomes unpredictable, and it is really hard to recover from there.
And we can just take a moment to appreciate Juppy's Chosen here. He looks absolutely fantastic. I think
Yes,
he actually...
the red boots.
I think he resembles the Chosen in the original pre-release trailer for Warhammer Online.
I'm not even sure if I remember that one, but it looks fantastic indeed. And
you have to be quite the Warhammer nerd to remember that, which is what I am, so I do. So
we might have a few
Juppy
people who know that. And also, thank you very much to Juppy for organizing this event here as well. It has been coordinated by them for all the guilds and members to arrive, so thank you very much. And that means while the giveaway is still happening, do you know if there's anything happening in the lakes potentially? We might have time to look around just a little bit.
The fight has returned to KV. Now, there has not been too much keep ranking up in High Pass. You can see Order does have AAO, so there are some Destro running boxes there, ranking up High Pass. If that does get to 2-star, we might see a transition and a quick, sneaky siege. But for the meantime, there is a large force of destruction with a ram spawned in KV against a very small Order force. But, again, we are contending against a 3-star Order keep. So, Order... played well, has a very, very good opportunity to defend this keep, but it is a very large Destro force.
Well, we might just be able to check it out. Let's see the warbands. Zorbax is still leading his salsa party, so we might be able to check them out. And if you're up for it, Uchoo, then we can fly around in the lakes a little bit, and everyone else, feel free to join us, at least as long as the giveaway is up. But we can hang out and talk also about the event. If anyone has questions, or you have any questions to Uchoo if you didn't understand what was happening, or just general even for the broadcast, then it is more than welcome. But how is everyone doing? I hope you enjoy the Round Watch, and you're enjoying Round Watch so far. Let us know. And meanwhile, we're going to be teleporting to Zorbax if we can. There we go, and I'm teleporting already. Is the stream gonna be a regular thing? That is the plan. Round Watch used to be a regular weekly show, and we would like it to return once again. It will depend on also what people enjoy. If you enjoy these more organized events, or you would prefer to watch the lakes, then well, we can do both as well, frankly. But as our commentators will be more available, and we also have the time, we can do Round Watch as a regular thing once again. And yeah, it seems Destruction is, if you can see my screen, Uchoo, they are sitting in the keep currently.
I'm not quite sure. Is this the Order keep they're in, or the Destruction keep? I'm assuming this is the Destruction keep. There was a ram spawned. Okay.
It is the Destruction keep.
Okay. So I think this was a defense. The outer door is open, so it looks like they successfully defended the keep, and they're waiting to get the door back up, and then they may initiate a siege of their own. And this is a very common thing to see in KV. It's just failed keep siege after failed keep siege. Something about Dwarven engineering just makes these keeps very hard to take.
And they look beautiful, you have to say. But currently we can see a Pug Warband from our Zorbax, who leads a Pug Warband every day. So especially for new players, if you're looking for stable warbands where it's easy to get into the game and also learn the very basics, then these warbands can be extremely friendly and a very good good place to learn the basics of the game, and then later on transition onto other warbands as well if you like. But they're active every day, and that really helps keeping the lakes alive. Now we have one question from Connor. Should healers focus on wounds, willpower, armor, or toughness? Which is a really good question. I hear a lot from newer healers, which you definitely can help with this one.
So Roar is an interesting game in that how you should build your character is usually quite a lot different from other MMOs. As a healer, it's generally much better to build very, very defensively. I recommend armor on every healer to stack a lot of armor because armor is a very powerful stat in the game, and it has strong synergies on a lot of the gear sets, especially the end game gear sets. So armor will definitely help keep you alive. And if you were to instead stack willpower for output, you could, potentially have, 10 to 20% stronger healing, but you will die almost 5 times as quickly as you would if you instead went defensive. So generally, it just makes more sense to focus on playing well as a healer, make sure you have your hots up and you're getting your effective heals out, and instead be defensive. So if you do have, say 3 witch elves open on you at the same time, you are much, much less likely to die. Because if you die, then your group dies.
Yes, definitely. That is exactly why I pointed out that this is a very common question for newer healers because, well, what is everyone's instinct immediately as a healer? Well, of course, it's the same as a damage dealing career that you're going to be filling all those talisman slots up with willpower stat to be able to heal more. But with the current state of the balance and how healers generally, I think can definitely heal enough with their base stats, it's surviving, and survival is the problem there usually. And newer healers usually go down much faster, which is exactly while I think this is still split between people if they prefer to focus on armor, even toughness or wounds. But everyone agrees that focusing on defenses is preferable.
My personal recommendation, the only things I ever really stack toughness on are tanks, because toughness is a stat that does result in percentage damage reduction, which is an EHP multiplier, but you have to get a lot of it to get big effect. I think it's more efficient to go for wounds, armor, anti-crit, or even stuff like avoidance, parry, and in most cases. The only time I really do toughness is on tanks. There are people who disagree. They like to do toughness on healers. The only healer I would do toughness on personally is a shaman, because you have the synergy with their 13-point left tree ability, the hot, that gives you a lot of toughness. So I think it's okay to do that, but me, I prefer armor and wounds in almost every case. And don't forget anti-crit. You get a lot of futile strikes. Let me tell you now, the difference between futile strikes 3 and 4 is massive. You will feel so much tankier. I recommend trying it out if you feel like you just don't want to die today.
And there's a big fight going on just now. Order came out of nowhere. I have no idea where this
The
warband
very
just
aggressive move
bumped
from this
up
order.
from.
We saw a knight come in, drop the instant Heaven's Fury, a big Zerg move. My guess is this is a lot of White Lions. This is a very mobile and aggressive order group. And they do
We can
catch
definitely
quite a few
see
kills in the
this
retreat
is
here.
Brada's Unreal warband from the look of it. Definitely a
They did
well-known
catch
warband
quite
leader.
a few kills on the retreat there, and they scared off the rest of these Destro. But Destro, they look like they're pretty defensive. I'm not sure which group this is on Destro.
This looks like it might be a smaller roaming warband. But we'll just have to look around. And I think the giveaway has been up for a while. This is the final opportunity, everyone. If you would like to win 100 gold straight from Techno's pockets, it's time to type !giveaway in chat. And in a minute or so, we can close it down as well. If Techno is around. But this is the final warning. If you would like to enter the giveaway, and in a minute it's gonna be closing down, and once again we're gonna give out the gold rewards. Again, it doesn't matter which side you're on.
So what we have happening right now in KV is a bit of stagnation. The organized Destro groups are sitting back at their keep. I think the door has repaired. There has not been a ramp spawned, and the numbers have also dropped in KV. The fight may end up shifting to High Pass, Talabik Land, but we do have Unreal roaming the lakes in KV with a full warband. I'm not sure what their intention is. They might just wipe out a few of the pugs roaming around and then shift as well. But as far as campaign advancement, there's not a lot going on right now, just kills.
And it seems destruction is, well, we did see a lot of people on defense, It seems the warbands are a little bit split right now, whereas Order seems to have their larger group together currently. So it is
Now, the
very
important
hard
thing to
to see
track,
the big fights.
yes, and the important thing to track out here in RvR is the big warband leaders that lead the coordinated warbands, because those people will typically carry the fights and carry the campaign. So you want to keep an eye out for them. Like our Zorbaxes and our Brodas, they're going to be creating the impact of where anything really happens in these zones.
And we have a winner once again for the giveaway. Congratulations to Antamac. I hope I did say that name correctly. Techno will contact you, and once again, congratulations for the gold. Now we're definitely having a harder time finding out where the action is.
Well, it does look like the action has shifted to the Tier 3 Empire. We have a lot of BOs being contested, and a lot of numbers developing on both sides here. It looks like your action might be in a
I
different
just
zone.
found the Destruction Warband. I think it very much looks like the typical circling happened, where the two warbands straight up just went around each other.
So this is interesting to watch, because Unreal just crossed the entire zone, and it looks like the Destruction Warband, they all took the tunnel to go to the Order side of the map, and they're looking to gank individual Order players as well in less coordinated groups, so that they're kind of just trading here and not making any real impact in the campaign.
Exactly. It seems both warbands just circled around the whole map and missed each other, but Destruction seems somewhat together now, and in a few seconds or maybe a minute, we might see a bigger fight.
So now the question is, where is Broda? Because if Broda shows up to fight that Destro Warband, we may have a good fight. But KB can be very confusing. It can be hard to track your opponent's movements. It's a very big zone, and there's only 2 or 3 routes through the zone.
Now, if I had to guess, I would say they are in the tunnels, but we'll just have to see. Because I believe they definitely went around in a big circle. But it very much seems the tunnels are also empty. We'll just have to find them. Where
We do see Gromrel Junction being burned by Destruction, so we might see the Unreal Warband at Gromrel Junction, which is that BO which you are at. Or there's a couple of solos here. I'm not sure where.
I can only see solos here.
I'm not sure where Broda is. He could have transitioned zones. He could have reversed and gone back the other way.
Well, I can see a bunch of smaller groups from Destruction roaming around, but I wonder if Unreal might have zone swapped, whereas Destruction stayed around here. Oh, we just missed the fight, but we're here for the aftermath. Unfortunately, we found them. They did not swap. They are fighting near the war camp.
If you cannot find your enemy, then go to their war camp. And you'll typically find them very quickly, which is what we see here. I don't think this does not look like anything coordinated from Destro. This could just be some solos, but it's a pretty aggressive move. A lot of tanks and MDPS in here chasing these Order, but I think this Order is probably going to turn and do a big drop and kill these guys quickly.
Yes, I was just about to ask, do you think that Destruction is legit pushing back, or is this a bait and switch? But from the look of it, that was definitely a bait.
Yep, there's the big turn back. There's all the
Unreal.
white lions. Yep, this is what I expected. And then Destro will flee, and we might see another counter push here. And this is the classic push and pull that you will see a lot from, I guess, slightly less organized situations.
And from the look of it, I'm not sure if Order has the number advantage here. Especially, it's hard to see right now because Destruction is a little bit disorganized. But Order might have the numbers in this case because, just as I mentioned, Destruction seems to be split into multiple smaller roaming groups. rather than a large warband.
I mean, the organization is just as important, and this is the numbers difference here has me. These order are all working together. They're all supporting each other. They're all in the same warband. And meanwhile, these destruction players, a lot of them, they're trying to hit different targets, so they're never going to be able to create the critical mass to really defeat a blob here. There's not a lot of synergy happening between these people who are not grouped up together.
Yes, and from the look of it, I'm not sure. This is not. This is definitely not a full pug group. I do see a guild that I usually don't see. That is forming the mass. Oh, and they might have been just, or there might have been just flanked here. But I think this is a smaller guild war band that we can see here.
Represay? Is that how you say
Represay,
that?
yes. I think I was afraid of saying it. I think that's French, if I'm correct. I was definitely afraid of saying it. But
no, I'm sure one of my French friends will correct me here if I said it incorrectly, which I likely did. But yeah, very aggressive move from the destruction. As you can see, it did not play out well for them. But the important thing is that they are trying, because every time that they fail, they will learn, and then eventually will achieve success. But the order is being routed by, is that the same group or is it a different one?
Again, I think there was a pug group, and just now Represay arrived with their warband, or like I said, one of those roaming groups arrived, and they seem to have flanked the Order warband from the sides. That's how it looked, at least, because we were following the bulk of the battle, and then we saw that Order was being attacked from behind.
Yeah, Represay ended up baiting that big fight, which encouraged the other Destro group to participate, which is often what happens. One group has to be the anvil so the other can be the hammer, and at that time they were forced to be the anvil, but as a result, their entire realm did achieve the victory there in that fight.
And understandably, usually no one likes to be the anvil.
They certainly do not, but we do need more anvils than we need hammers in most cases. That's why I appreciate Formosa so much, because they run so many tanks that they're so easy to play off of.
Sorry, I needed like a really short break. I was muting myself for that. Uchoo might have been confused because he did hear me except the stream. But excuse me for that. Sometimes IRL happens. Now,
That's okay. I don't think we missed too much, Esme.
I'm trying to find where Order is. I guess, sorry.
There's a lot of Order representation in High Pass. They have 3 BOs held to 1 Destruction BO. So my guess is that Order is being pretty contentious in Tier 3 Empire at the moment.
Now the question is if also Unreal have swapped over or not.
The numbers have not shifted in High Pass yet. My State of the Realm has not updated if they did swap. I'm not sure what Broda's plan is at the moment. The numbers did drop for Order in KV, so we may see them go up in High Pass, or Broda might be on a break. But that Warband's next move could determine the course of RvR in the next half an hour.
Yeah, that can very much happen because we are nearing the usual time when, once again, the EU of warbands are going to bed. And then, of course, because we had the warband versus warband event right now, a lot of guilds did not even show up for the lakes, which, of course, impacts what's happening. Because, again, if we talked about this yesterday, if certain very important warband leaders are missing, then it's very possible that that night there's just no action going on that much.
That is absolutely the case, and especially during NA time. Warband leaders and the personalities, that's what gets people together, gets the action going. They start the fights, they carry the campaign, they run the boxes, they siege the keeps, and they are the people that allow everyone else to have fun. So again, if you're a person who finds yourself playing at a time where there's not much going on a lot of solos, try creating an open warband if you're the type of person who's inclined for it. Invite some friends, and you'll likely have a positive experience.
And who knows, maybe you're gonna love warband leading.
We do need more of them. This game is all about player-created content.
Definitely. Now, with that said, of course, today is a Tuesday, and generally speaking, the more popular nights are, if I believe, Monday and definitely Wednesday, and then the weekend also picks up. I'm not sure if the other nights are that popular. It's generally spread between the different warband leaders, but I think Monday and Wednesday in general are very popular nights.
Monday and Wednesday, I think, are the funnest days to be participating in RvR during EU hours. Most of the big guilds are out, and a lot of crazy things can happen. The other days, they all vary. Like you said, it's pretty varied. I don't offhand remember the set schedules of guilds, but that information is out there that I can maybe track down and give to you.
And just like we rehearsed yesterday, because we were doing a rehearsal for this little show today to make sure everything works properly, we were practicing after around 11 p.m. EU time, and the lakes were really interesting and unpredictable, as there was a new guild. We believe it is a new guild. What was their name again, if you remember?
What was it? I'm so terrible at remembering things.
Let me quickly check the website,
Casual
because
or something?
they are definitely on the kill board as well. And like nor you or me recognized what exactly
Casual
was.
Suspects.
Casual Suspects. Yes, yesterday there was a fantastic looking fight on the lake between Casual Suspects, then Bene Gesserit against the alliance of Hand of Blood and Entropy and Chaos. It was just a fantastic fight, honestly, to follow. And again, you never know when these fights happen. It just all depends on the warband leaders. If they pop up, and then out of nowhere, there's a fun situation forming.
Now, Casual Suspects is a guild I do not know, and I know almost every guild on the server, so it's interesting to see them. So my assumption was that they're new, but they were very aggressive, which I respect, because being aggressive, even if you end up losing, you're going to learn the game very quickly. So they were very fun to watch.
Yeah, some of the fights were fantastic. But with that said, though, it is getting somewhat late, and just like we mentioned, it is a Tuesday. So if we do want to participate, perhaps in the lakes and follow a little bit more interesting fights, or when things are more active, we would definitely have to start a little bit earlier. But I think tonight has been just absolutely fantastic with the 24 versus 24 round watch. At least I had a lot of fun. I don't know about you, Uchoo.
I always have fun. That's why I played this. I played this game for 15 years. I always have fun.
It was definitely a lot of fun, and hopefully everyone enjoyed it too. Once again, if you did enjoy this round watch, make sure to let us know, especially if you would like to see more of these organized 24 versus 24 battles. Otherwise, we will, of course, try to also include more casual lakes and RvR footage over here at Round Watch. We cannot promise that this is going to be a weekly show for now. It's just returning, and we have to form schedules around it and how we can do it. But again, if anyone has feedback, feel free to let us know. And I would say that is pretty much for today. Is there anything you would like to add, Uchoo?
I'm gonna self-plug myself again.
Yeah, feel
I have a
free
YouTube
to,
channel.
of course.
I make roar content. If you guys are into memes, high-level play, and I'm gonna be working on a lot of guides, more focused toward new players and helping them in some of the problems they've been encountering. It's just youtube.com/Uchoo Gaming. Check me out. Would appreciate it.
Yes, definitely make sure to check them out. And if you did enjoy Uchoo's commentary, as I said, let us know. But I definitely enjoyed it, so this will happen more in the future. But that is it for today, everyone. Congratulations, everyone, to both teams that we were watching. They did a fantastic job. Congratulations to the people who won the giveaways, and everyone else. Hope you had a fantastic time over here with Round Watch tonight. Like I mentioned at the start, we will try to upload this whole episode to YouTube. Hopefully, we will not bump into any technical difficulties, but even if we do, then future episodes are definitely planned that will be uploaded. But that is it for today, everyone. Thank you so very much for joining this week's Realm Watch, and enjoy the rest of your night, enjoy the rest of your day, and hope to see you all next time. Bye-bye.